Hola chicos, I woke up early today. It's been an early day. I've already took this bus for 2 hours. Today we are on a volcano, Volcan Irazu. We're going to explore the tallest volcano in Costa Rica called El Colosso. Come along for the adventure. Vamos! All right guys, here we are. We're like almost 3,000 meters above sea level. It was about a 2-hour bus ride out of San Jose. There's only one bus. It leaves across from the Teatro Nacional, the National Theater, at 8 in the morning. So don't miss that one. So here we are. Parque Nacional Volcan Irazu. What we're gonna see today, what we're doing today is we're going to see a massive crater, what they're calling the Crater Principal. So it's this massive crater you can see here, and it fills during the winter time with water during the rainy season, making a very epic scene. This is a really important place for Costa Rica and the people here. They call it El Colosso, as I said, because it's caused so much havoc over the years for the people here. This thing is still an active volcano and it erupts not often, but there's been 23 active eruptions since they started recording in the late 1700s. First things first, you'll notice that it is extremely cloudy here. The cloud is like on top of us. It's actually so cloudy, like theoretically, that I mean I can feel moisture. I'm like getting wet just walking. It's not raining. So the altitude here is really high, and the one thing I noticed about Costa Rica first off is how cloudy and aggressively moist it is in a very different way than it is in Vietnam and other parts of near the equator places I've been. Costa Rica is a really mountainous country with a really temperate climate. You go on both sides, you can see the Pacific Ocean on the west coast. You can see the Caribbean Sea on the east coast, and there it's very tropical. But in the center of the country, it's extremely mountainous, extremely cloudy, and very like rainforested. Almost 6% of the biodiversity of the world can be found here in Costa Rica, and Costa Rica is not that big a country, which is extremely impressive. You can already see walking on the path that this is volcanic ash, something black. Volcan Irazu. Irazu is named for the tribe, the indigenous tribe that used to live at the foothills of this mountain and continues to live at the foothills of this volcano. Something very impressive. It's very ominous with the mist. I love misty places. It makes it all the more mysterious. People say that this is a place where the souls of Costa Ricans come because of the continual cloud coverage. And yeah, I mean, look at this. High volcanic hazard zone. Volcan Irazu is known as a stratovolcano. Stratovolcanoes basically are those very typical volcano-shaped, like volcanoes, and they're built up over millennia by shooting ash and lava and magma out and building up upon itself. So the last big eruption that they had here was in 1994. And since then, it hasn't been much of a problem, but they're always monitoring and watching it. And in 1994, the entire city of San Jose was covered in ash for almost 2 days, which is crazy. On a clear day, this is actually technically one of the only places in the world where you can see 2 oceans simultaneously. If you just look to the east, you can see the Caribbean Sea, the Atlantic Ocean. If you look to the west, you can see the Pacific Ocean. The distance between points in Costa Rica, between oceans, is actually not very long. This is very close to the Panama Canal, obviously. Costa Rica actually has one of the largest rainforests that you can find in any country, with a large chunk of the northern half of Costa Rica just completely covered in massive like rainforest vegetation. I've never seen a leaf in my life this big. I mean, look at my hand compared to this leaf. Unbelievable. Many plants over here, and it's all growing off the side of this massive mountain face that, you know, the sun's coming out. We got some, you can see the clouds blowing. This place is actually crazy. The visibility here is terrible. You know, they said it would be possible that you couldn't really see the crater. I can't, but it's such a majestic place. And I've never been any place like this where it's so humid yet cold and windy and cloudy, but also sunny. It's very unique. The climate here is very, very interesting. Much of what you do in Costa Rica is related to this amazing biodiversity that I just talked about. I went to a really beautiful museum called the Jade Museum, which has the largest collection of pre-Columbian jade and gold in the world. So essentially, a lot of what the native tribes were doing here previous to colonization was representing animals, representing symbols, representing natural things within sculpture, within jade, within gold, within silver. And it's a really an interesting tribute to both the animals that they have here, where they have a really one of the coolest amount of nocturnal animals, including jaguars. They have a ton of bats here, and then the daytime animals that are very unique to the area as well. The religious shamans, spiritual and religious leaders, the kind of doctors of the time, they had a theory that all animals had both a day spirit and a night spirit, and there were contrasting animals to society. So you had, for example, the crocodile and the jaguar, the human and the spiritual animal, the snake and the bat. They were all contrasting as far as nature was concerned, and they were a sense of balance, to order, to a system that goes back to ancient times. Many of the tribes here have been living and settling before the Columbian era for thousands of years, passing down stories, passing down traditions, and coming to volcanoes and living under them, feeling the power and the strength and the warmth that the volcano provides, the soil, the very fertile soil that often volcanoes provide. Here you guys can see the caldera. There it is. Hopefully there will be some sort of, you know, wind that pulls all of these clouds out of here, but that's kind of what we're left with right now. I'm not disappointed. This is magical. This is very, very magical. And you know, sometimes you try to make the best out of it, guys. We're walking on volcanic soil here. Look at us. And look, sulfur deposits. After a very wet, windy, rainy last hour, I'm ready to get back on the bus. We're gonna go back to San Jose or Cartago, wherever we stop. I'm gonna get some food. Let's do it. About an hour later, I'm finally off the bus, and I got dropped off in the center of Cartago. Cartago is kind of like the secondary suburb of San Jose. It's technically in a different valley. The San Jose and Cartago are both in this kind of rift valley that's surrounded by mountains, super beautiful. But the one thing to do here in Cartago, before I show you some food, is to see the Basilica De Cartago. It was built like 20 years ago or something. Super, super beautiful. Devoutly Catholic country here in Costa Rica. They take it really seriously. And this is the Basilica De Los Angeles. It's very weird to see the word Los Angeles in a context that is not the city that I know and love. Now that we're in the center of Cartago, there's one cool thing I wanted to show you before we get out of this city. This is an old temple that's dedicated to Santiago, who is a saint. The interesting story about this, as you can see, is it's kind of unfinished. They got some Christmas gear here, and inside there's really nice gardens, but unfortunately because of Corona it's closed. This temple was built 7 different times, and all 7 times they couldn't finish it because of earthquakes. So basically at the end of the 1870s they just gave up and they left it. They tried again in the early 1900s, but once again left it, and now it's become kind of the center of the city. Over here we have a big public square, You can see they put up this Municipalidad Cartago to keep people out of there. I am not exactly sure why. It would seem to me in the times of Corona, it would be nicer to have people outside rather than inside, but I'm not the ones making the rules. So we've made it to our final destination, which is to eat some Costa Rican food. We have, anytime you go to a soda, the traditional like diner that everybody eats for lunch, they give you a refrescado. So that's just like any sort of like fruit blended with water. And so here we have something called cas. It's really good. The fruits here are so like tropical. It's like kind of like in between a guava and a guanabana, like what I had the other day. It's like really like fruity, flavorful, like a little flowery, really, really tasty. And it has this kind of sandy after texture, which is a bit strange. So super, super good. And then we have, they only had casado again. So the cool part about sodas is the casados at each place are different. So this one I got it with bistec, so grilled steak and onions. You always get the rice and beans, side salad. We've got some, I think some squash here, some roasted squash. So let's check it out. So I'm gonna absolutely devour this food now. I will catch you guys on the next episode. More coming from Costa Rica sooner than later. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Notifications are important. If you like a big steak, let me know in the comment section below. I will see you guys next time. Hasta luego.